if you want to get clarity for yourself on what your company is, what your business is, how you want to speak to your customers, and really what you want to present to the world, and then adapt that into a really visual experience for your customers, you really need to get some branding work done.
Hey there, Reed Perez here, CEO and founder of Branding for the People. And today I'm bringing on one of our private clients, Jonathan McCarty of Odyssey Test Prep. So Jonathan, welcome.
Hey Reed, thanks for having me. Great to see you and great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been a while. And truth be told, like we never officially met in person.
We still haven't, have we?
A lot of my clients either see me speak at an event or met me at an event.
When we first met, I was actually living in Ireland, so I think a face-to-face was...
That's right.
Yeah, a little distance between us. But yeah, I feel like we have it, just from the conversations we've had and the calls that we've had. I really feel like I have met you and that I know you. So happy to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, cool. So let's jump right into it. I recall when we had our first conversation, like the problem that you were trying to solve. But why don't you share with those listening in, what was the problem that you were trying to solve prior to branding?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question because that was a bit of a journey for me. I was really looking to take my company to the next level. I wanted to help more people gain access to law school, and we were working with a brand that I had created, and I'm no branding expert, with a website that I had created, and I'm no tech guru. And so I had kind of bootstrapped everything and learned a lot of skills, but nothing was really polished. So I thought I needed, a new advertising campaign. So when I looked into that, I realized that I needed a new website so I could send traffic somewhere that was going to convert. And then when I looked at that, I realized, partially through talking to you, that I needed a new brand. I needed something that I could really put out into the world that was going to connect with our students and with potential tutors that are going to work for us, and really get across what we're trying to do and what we're all about. So I went through a big process of trying to figure out what we needed, and I landed on branding, and things have really worked out since then.
Was there something that you were trying to do business-wise that wasn't working or working as well as you'd like it to, that you said, hey, advertising or website or branding could help solve it? Were any of those business challenges that you were facing at the time?
Yeah, so the advertising was, we were really trying to draw in a larger segment of students, and we had done no paid advertising up until that point. So Looking into the paid advertising, I had to take a really hard look at what I was going to pay to have people view. And I didn't like what I saw. So that was really the driving force. And ultimately, we really wanted to help more students reach their goals and get into the law schools of their dreams, and really help them move on to that next step in life.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank God you allowed me to sort of educate you that you needed a brand rather than just a new website.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that. I know we had a lot of calls, and I was very hesitant at first.
You're not alone.
It was the biggest capital outlay that I had done. It was more than I had invested in the business from the start when we started everything, and so I was very worried about the investment. But talking to you, I knew I had a company and a team that was really passionate about this, and I am so happy that I made the decision to go with it, and it has really been a great success.
That being said, there's a lot of branding resources, a lot of agencies. You had mentioned something about, because we are passionate about what we do, but what was the deciding factor for you? Why did you choose to work with me and my agency?
So there were a couple of things. I think there were two main things. When I do something, I do a ton of research, and I typically get to the right decision, and I'm sure that I did this time. So one of the things, I looked at a lot of branding agencies, talked to a lot of advertising agencies, and they all kind of blurred together except for branding for the people. Your website, the video testimonials that I saw from people at your events, they were just on fire coming out of these events and watching a lot of those videos. Yeah. And just the branding for your own company really stood out to me as unique and memorable. But the second factor was the calls that I had with you. You were super patient with a very hesitant client. And I knew that you were somebody who really cared about this process, and that if I needed anything, if things started to go sideways, I could get in touch with you and you would get things back on track.
Cool.
Well.
All right. Well, I'm glad you did. So now let's talk about the process. So was there something about that process that worked for you, that was effective, or that was enjoyable?
One of the reasons I chose you is because I knew if things went sideways, I could call you. And I don't think I ever had to do that throughout the whole process. So it's pretty.
You're right. I don't think you ever called me. You never played that card.
But the one thing that stood out to me the most was it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be for me. And that wasn't in a bad way. This is in a really positive way. And that whole process really gave me a lot of drive, it kind of remotivated me, a lot of enthusiasm, and that kind of pushed the business forward as well. What
were some of the results or the tangible outcomes that you've been able to enjoy and obtain as a result of the branding process?
As far as our results, so I'm looking back at some of the sales figures. So in May 2018 is when we actually launched the brand. And our sales jumped from April, the month before. We did 4 times as much revenue in May as we did in April. And then we were able to, from that point forward, we just crushed it through the year, and we tripled our revenue from 2017 and 2018.
Just to round it out, would you say that your marketing and advertising activities stayed the same in addition to the rebrand? Or did you also amp up your marketing as well to help support that exponential growth?
We did amp up the marketing as well.
Yeah.
And it was the brand and the confidence in the brand that allowed me to invest in that ramp up in marketing. Now, we started slow with the marketing, and as things really started to pick up and as the brand really proved itself in the real world, we were able to then scale up the marketing. And we've had growth every year since. And this year, we're on pace to grow even further. So my philosophy is, if you're going to advertise, you better be advertising something good. Something that's going to work.
Do you think that you would have also gotten great results had you not gone through the branding process?
So I can be very sure that that's not the case. If I would have thought that was the case, I would not have rebranded. I would have just started advertising. But so we advertise on like some third-party sites, and like over 90% of our revenue was from those third-party sites. We had virtually nobody signing up on our website.
Interesting. Okay.
So we had maybe 5% signing up on our website. Now those numbers have flipped. We're like 85% of the signups that we get are through our website, and only 10 to 15% are through those third-party sites.
Wow.
So our trust and our and everything has really been built through that branding process. Like I said, we were getting nothing before with our previous brand, and now we're getting a ton. So
I'm curious. I don't know if you have an opportunity to interact, or someone on your team is able to interact with your students to see, were they considering some of your top competitors at the same time they were considering you, or what was it that attracted them to your brand? Did you get any of that feedback or input from them?
Yeah, we have definitely had students who have mentioned the brand and mentioned the visual stunningness of it and the energy behind it. Yeah. And it really helps when a student's coming into a consultation call with me, that they've been exposed to kind of what our visual identity is, what our verbiage is, and then I get to have a very high energy conversation with them. Yeah. We're attracting highly motivated, highly intelligent, really amazing students who are going to go into law and do some really phenomenal things. And that's the target audience that we were looking to attract. That's who we want to work with.
And I believe you carved out an offering that was at a higher price point that maybe you might have offered in the past, for private tutoring with you. Was that the case? Did
Yeah.
you have that? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have now what's called our Odyssey Elite program, and that is for students who want to work directly with me. Your team helped me carve out the exact details of it, but that package coming in at $75,000 per student. And we have had a number of students who have taken us up on that package and that we've worked with. And that has been really a phenomenal success as well.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Wow. There you have it. I mean, we're always excited to hear these kinds of results. So what advice would you give someone who might be where you were, right? Who might be on the fence with the branding process? What piece of advice do you want to leave them with?
I think that if you want to get clarity for yourself on what your company is, what your business is, how you want to speak to your customers, and really what you want to present to the world, and then adapt that into a really visual experience for your customers, you really need to get some branding work done.